Hello everyone, today we are retouching an image using frequency separation. Frequency separation is all about separating the textures and the colors of the image. So let's begin. Well, I'm going to duplicate the background layer into two, Ctrl J twice or Command J depending on what you're using. Since we are doing frequency separation, so I'm going to name this high frequency and I'm going to name this low frequency. So you can just double click on it and you'll be able to change the name quickly. Low frequency. So I'm going to turn off this and let's start with the low frequency. So we'll go to filter. Since we're working on the colors, the low frequency we're working on the colors Gaussian blur. And so what you do is that you'd reduce this. So you click on this part to see more of the image and look for a place where there are more textures of the skin. So I begin to increase the radius to the point whereby you don't see much texture, like that point, exact point where you don't see much texture. So I think 7 works for me. So this particular part is like a very strong foundation for your frequency separation. The moment you don't get the radius that would suit this image, you would not really, your frequency separation, your retouching might not be too good like that. But so if you can get this place very well, you'll be good. So let's click on OK. Then review the high frequency. For the high frequency, we're going to go to image. High frequency is dealing with the texture, and go to image and go to apply image, because we're working on an 8-bit image. So this is the source. This layer, what the layer we're working with is the low frequency layer. We're on the high frequency layer, but in this applying image, we're applying the low frequency. You understand? So because we're on 8-bit image, we're going to be the blending mode will be on subtract. The scale will be on 2 and the offset will be on 128. If we were working on a 16-bit image, this is the difference. Working on a 16-bit image and 16 or 32 and 8-bit image, you would, for the 16 bits, you change the blending mode to add, and this will be on 2, and you click on invert and you get the same. So if you notice, you just need to see the texture of the image. We're separating it. So since we're working on 8-bit image, let's just go back to the setting that was there, unclick this, and we're good, and we can see the textures of the image, and we click on this. So in order for us to bring back the colors of the image, you change the blending mode, click on this place, change the blending mode to linear light, and we are back. And now from there we can now organize our work by creating a group. So you control click on the other layer and Ctrl G to create a group, and name this. I can name it FS, and we're good. In order for us to have a good workflow, it's always good for us to arrange our layers and our steps and our processes so that we can always trace them back, and it's very good to create structures when you're editing. So low frequency, we're going to use the mixer brush for this. This is my mixer brush setting. This place should be toggled on, so after every stroke, the Photoshop will automatically clean the brush. My brush is on soft, and this is my settings: wet 9, load 90, mix 90, flow 100. Okay, so in order for us to see what we are doing, if for beginners, you can just don't be too close like this. No, you have to see an overview. Like this is the head, so I'm seeing the overview of the head and all. So I would hide the high frequency, and then I'll begin to brush. And the way you brush on the skin, it has to be that you are not damaging the structure of the skin. You are not damaging the structure. You are not making the image the image to be flat. Do you understand? So you make sure that you are going in the pattern of the skin. Make sure that you're always going with the pattern of the skin. As you can see here, there's a pattern here that I'm following, and then this cheek side too. You make sure that you're going with the pattern where the transition of the lighter part and the darker part. You make sure that the transition is easier, is even, where there is no much difference, because we are blending the skin colors. We're working on skin colors now. So you make sure that you follow the pattern of the skin colors, and don't do too much in order for you to, so that you don't have over edited image. Don't do too much. Don't do too much. Much is less. Less is much. I don't drop quotes. So I'm going to fasten this process because I have to make sure that I transform the skin properly. For this part, you have to be very careful working with this part. So you blend the darker parts, you would transition. So for this part, you have to be very careful with this part. You will blend them properly so that there will not be too much difference between the dark parts and the light parts. So this is the before and this is the after. This is the before and this is the after. After. So you can see that we have made much differences there. And if you feel like it's too much, anytime that you feel like it's too much, you can always just reduce the opacity. Can you see that? If you feel like it's too much, always reduce the opacity. This is a very important tool for you to use. If you feel like maybe you probably have done too much, you can reduce the opacity, but I'll leave it at this as of now. So there's something that we can also do in order to fine-tune it. So we'll just use this. Use this tool. So if you see my feather is on 22 because I don't want to have the edges to be too sharp. So I will just click sorry so I'll just click on this like this. I'll just have this like this, and then I'll go to filter, and then because I'm doing it for the very first time, I will increase this by times 3 from experience. Times 3. 21 is fine. 21 is fine. 21. Sorry. So you can see that difference is what I just did just now. But 21 would be okay to increase the texture of the image a bit. You can see. You can see it. So just do it for some parts. So now I'll just right click and click on Gaussian blur. So that same setting on the Gaussian blur is going to apply to it now. So you can see that, see the transition, see what it did there. Can you see it? See this place too. Right click and Gaussian blur. See, there's a difference. So you're just fine-tuning, it. Gaussian blur. Sorry. You hold and drag on all the places that you want to work on. So that's it. So I think we're good. Okay, let me do, yeah. Okay, we're good. So in order for you to deselect, just outside the selection, just left click and it goes out. So what I want to do is now, I want to take away all these blemishes. I will come to the texture layer. So I can use clone stamp. In order for us to take away the blemish, I can use clone stamp. I can use patch. I can use spots. I can use alien. Spots is like the most automatic of them all. So this spot, now just click on it like this, and Photoshop will automatically remove the blemish for me automatically by itself. But if you don't like it, you can always use patch, you can always use clone stamp to do it by yourself and choose the part. See, for that, this part now, I don't really like that part. I just did it again and Photoshop did it for me. So now I think I have a better image. This part just a little bit okay, no. So here now, I don't really like this. Control Z to undo. So you can just click on clone stamp, reduce the brush size, and just that's a detail though, but I prefer it like this. So I think we are good. Then for the air that are coming out, you can just use clone stamp, pick a sample very close to it, and make sure the size is very small as what you are doing. So it's close to it, and you begin to drag, copy like that, like that. I don't know if my recording software is hanging, but then so for clone stamp, that's what I just did, and yes, and we're good, and we are good. So just work on, yeah, we're good. I picked samples from very close to it, so you can also do that to remove the air, all these triangles on the air. But since we're working on photo frequency separation, I'll do other videos where we would work on the air, we'll do dodge and burn, and also then we also I can see a part that I just need to touch a little bit, and that is this place here. So I'll reduce this space a little bit, and I'll just paint over the side here. So it's better this way. It's better this way. Pay attention to all the details. So we went from this to this, and I can just change the opacity a little bit. So I'll just keep it 90. Thank you very much. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel. See you next time.